Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us for Lunch Bites. Today's topic, we're going to be covering at a very high level, business-to-business versus business-to-consumer considerations for your e-commerce storefront. My name is James Mallory. I'm a Director of Marketing, also involved in sales here at E2b Technologies, and I'll be your presenter today. So a little overview about what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about some of the nuances, and they are nuances, some big, some small, on business-to-consumer e-commerce like an Amazon.com versus a business-to-business e-commerce application, and what you need to know in order to differentiate and determine the best solution for your B2b e-commerce storefront. Some of the things we're going to be looking at, the differences of new versus established customers and the impact that has on your shopping cart, customer products and pricing, so customer-specific products, customer-specific pricing versus just standard list pricing. The importance of the back office ERP or accounting integration, so that you're pulling information in from your accounting system or your ERP system and then pushing orders and other information back into those systems. We're going to talk a little bit about account self-service and the differences between B2b and B2c. We're talking about the importance of shipping methods in both models, as well as sales representative access. So sales reps, brokers, dealers, people that need access to your information to actually place the orders that might not be the end customer. So just a couple slides here on what not to do. Obviously, there are a lot of e-commerce sites available to you, a lot of different shopping carts, if you will. And what you don't want is something like we're looking at on the screen here, which is not clear, very difficult to find what you're looking for, does not look professional. I'd be very afraid to put my credit card into this website, quite personally. This is more of a B2c e-commerce site. But an example of really what you don't want to do. It's not the image you want to portray to your customers, especially your B2b customers. Now here's an example of a B2b site. It's the industrial supply store. So it's a distributor that is marketing and selling industrial supplies to, I'm assuming, either other distributors or manufacturers. The site's a little better, but it just does not look professional. So let's talk a little bit about B2c e-commerce, because it's something that we're all very familiar with, right? I don't think there are many of us on the call today that haven't made a purchase online personally. So in B2c, there's a very large effort that's put on search engine optimization, or the ability to capture a prospect that's going to Google or some other search engine and typing in something like long sleeve shirts or a particular music download or maybe a particular component for a laptop. They're looking for very specific things. They can source those personally from many different shopping carts online. So search engine optimization is really geared around finding those people, getting your listing for those products you provide to the top of the list. B2B is very different. I'm not saying that there isn't a search engine optimization component of it, but in a business-to-business environment, you typically have an established relationship with that customer. And it's less about finding those customers than it is about improving their ability to self-serve, place orders via an online shopping cart, because they already know who you are, they already know what products you offer, and probably vice versa, right? You already know who they are, and you already know what products they would be interested in. In a B2C environment, business to consumer, I can't buy something on account and get billed for it later in most cases. It's going to be 100%, in most cases, credit card purchase. In a business-to-business environment, it's probably the opposite. I may want to buy some things on a credit card, But for the most part, I have established credit terms with that organization. So when I go to check out my shopping cart, I shouldn't be forced to pay via credit card. What should happen is the back end of the system should generate an order in my accounting system. The order is then invoiced, and then based on my credit terms, I'm delivered that invoice, and I have, net 15 or net 30 days to pay on that invoice. Okay. In a B2C environment, I'm very limited on the ability to customize my product catalogs. Some of the sites, like in Amazon, you can filter down based on categories. In most of the B2B environments, though, you can't really customize that too much with an application like Anytime Commerce, which we're going to look at later in the presentation. You do have the same type of ability with B2C, but you can get even more granular around groups of customers, right? Kind of demographics on the business, not on the consumer. If I know I've got customers that are industrial versus customers that are government versus customers that are maybe contractors, for example, I can customize my product catalog so when they log in, they see the items that are most relevant to them and their industry. Okay? In a B2C environment, there's really no ability for a sales rep to go in that would really be managing that more complex sale and be able to create shopping carts for their customers to review or to be able to place orders on behalf of their customers. In a B2B environment, a system like Anytime Commerce is going to be a much better solution because if I'm a sales rep, I can do one of two things, right? I can go out to my customer with a tablet or a laptop or just to their facility, log on to my shopping cart as me, pull up their account, and then I can review orders with them, I can review invoices with them, and I can place new orders with them directly from that interaction, okay? The other thing that I can do is I can obviously take a phone call or make a phone call, place the order, enter the order myself into the shopping cart or the B2b e-commerce site, which then flows back into the back office ERP system where the order is created, the invoices are generated, the order is picked. If it's a manufacturing environment, that product is manufactured and then shipped to the customer. So it's really closing that loop there. If you are on the call today and you sell through brokers, independent sales reps, dealers, basically anybody else that would be representing your product and selling your product to another company or to a consumer, a B2b e-commerce storefront is going to make the most sense for you because you have the ability to give them access to your product catalog so they can see what inventory is available. They can pull up the specific pricing for those customers and review all this information that is not going to be available to you without modification in a B2C environment. In B2C, what will typically happen, since they're not as focused on kind of the business requirements, they're more interested in taking the order. What they're going to do in most cases is at the end of the day, they're going to give you a download file, a CSV file, of all the orders that were created from your B2C shopping cart for that day. Then it's up to you to either import those orders into the system, right, into your accounting system, or to manually re-enter that information, which obviously that's not an ideal situation. With a business-to-business shopping cart, your e-commerce shopping cart is really an extension of your order entry system, an extension of your entire back office ERP business application. So the integration is very, very tight. If you're looking at B2C e-commerce, there are thousands of shopping carts available to you, some better than others, but for the most part, you're not going to go wrong. You got Monster Commerce, you got Web.com, Shopify, Amazon Web Stores, eBay Stores, BigCommerce, One Shopping Cart. The list goes on and on. I just picked some of the big ones here to highlight that there's a lot of solutions on the market. If you are looking for B2b e-commerce and you go do a search in Google, you're going to find very few players. And the ones that you're going to find are some of these companies, right? I think BigCommerce and Magento is another one, claim that they do B2B. You're going to want to really dig in on that because some of these shopping carts are claiming they do B2B, but they're offering very little additional functionality specific to your unique needs as a business selling online to other businesses. A little comparison here that I put together, just kind of highlighting some of the other differences between B2C and B2B. The goal of B2C is to drive product sales, right? They're typically, I think the stats we've seen are B2C shopping cart might be around $100, so I've got to drive a lot of volume. Where in a business-to-business environment, it's really relationship-driven. I want to create a better shopping experience for my business customers. And most of my shopping carts in a B2B environment are going to be upwards of several $1,000s. So it's less about the volume and driving sales there than it is about providing that experience to them. From a market standpoint, B2C is very broad in general, right? You go to Amazon, you may have some niche markets. You know, you might have a company that has a hobby specialty site. But for the most part, your B2C sites are going to be very broad in general and mostly targeted, obviously, at the consumer. In a business environment, you really have a small and very targeted audience. You pretty much know who your customers are and your prospects. And so it's a very different strategy. From a buying process, B2C, short and sweet, right? It's almost like that impulse buy. I can go out to Amazon.com and I can search for anything. I might go to a competitor of Amazon and shop their shopping cart and see if there's better prices, but I know what I'm looking for. I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to probably buy it now. I'm not saving that shopping cart. I don't have a lot of questions around the products that they're offering. I don't have questions about the service of those items. Business to business is very, very different in many different industries. If I'm selling large capital equipment or replacement parts for machinery equipment, I'm not going to go out and shop this across multiple sites for the most part. I know where I'm going to get this information. I'm going to have more questions, questions that can't be answered in a B2C type of an environment. And this is where I always get back to the sales rep playing an important role, or the broker or the dealer, because they're the ones that know these complexities of the business-to-business customer. They're going to be able to answer those questions and then convey that into an order. From a pricing standpoint, outside of volume breaks and maybe free shipping calculations and the like, if you go to Amazon.com, you basically get the price, right? It's not like you get special pricing because you are a volume buyer or you're a particular industry or what have you. In a business-to-business environment, when I log in, I expect to see my customer contract pricing. You know, standard pricing might be $100 for this item, but if I buy volume of it, I expect to see a 5 or 10% discount on that. Okay? That's one of the things that we bring to the table with Anytime Commerce, is the ability to integrate your customer pricing, contract pricing, volume pricing, those types of things into the e-commerce shopping cart. So I'm not looking at the list price. I'm looking at my price, my contract negotiated price. From a shipping standpoint, if I'm shipping B2C, for the most part, again, 90+% of the transactions, I'm going to be shipping via a common carrier. You know, United States Postal Service, UPS, maybe FedEx. If I am shipping large capital equipment, things that are very heavy, I'm shipping via truckload, less than truckload. I might also have some common carrier shipments, or I might even have my own delivery trucks. Can a B2C e-commerce solution support a truckload, LTL, or my own delivery trucks from a shipping and a freight calculation? Probably not. That's an area where a B2B site is going to be more beneficial. From a user standpoint, obviously you're looking at consumers versus business customers, sales reps, brokers, dealers. B2C, typically one time for frequency. if I'm going to buy something, I might go back to Amazon. It's probably the best example, but Amazon's kind of a site of many sites. I go on, I look for the items, and they have different Amazon stores, different sellers that advertise and promote the products on Amazon. So in Amazon's case, I probably will be a repeat customer. I happen to like the site a lot. But in many other business-to-consumer environments, I'm looking for something very specific. I'll give you an example of this. I happen to live in a log home. Log homes happen to get carpenter bees. What do? I need to get rid of my carpenter bees. I can't buy the stuff I need to get rid of the carpenter bees on Amazon. So I went to a very specific website to download a chemical that I can spray on my house. I'm not going back to that site time and time and time again to buy that product for my house. I'm going to buy it one time, take care of my problem, and be done, for at least a couple years until I need to reapply that. That's very common in most consumer experiences. In a business-to-business environment, though, it's very different. I'm typically going to my vendor's e-commerce storefront and reordering product because I'm consuming it more frequently. If I'm distributing fasteners, I need to source that fastener. So I'm going to go out to that e-commerce site and I'm going to order more parts, right? I'm going to keep doing that as I get orders in. If I'm a manufacturer and maybe I need MRO, maintenance, repair, and operating items and equipment, I'm going to go out to that vendor site time and time and time again to place those orders. So it's a repeat order versus typically a one-time order. We talked about the order total, typically low price on B2C, typically higher on B2b. In fact, some of the statistics we've seen, the market for business-to-business e-commerce is about double business-to-consumer. And that kind of blew my mind because there's so many consumer products and so fewer what I thought were business-to-business type products. But if you think about it, the shopping cart orders are at least double, if not sometimes 10 times as great as B2C as they are in B2B, right? Because I'm buying more expensive things. B2C, you have to think about fulfillment. Typically in business consumer, a lot of these shopping carts are simply marketing websites. They don't even fulfill the order. They're taking the order and they're sending the order information to a third-party warehouse, or they're actually drop shipping from their supplier to the customer. In a business-to-business environment, you typically own your own warehouse, right? You're going to stock product to that warehouse, orders are going to come in, and you're going to ship out of your warehouse. Again, getting back to the need for that integration, you need to have all that order information so you know how to ship it, when to ship it, picking, packing, all that whole process needs to be done within your application. From an order processing standpoint, we talked about this earlier. In a B2C environment, you'll get a file. At the end of the day, typically you can either manually enter that information or you have to manually import that file into your accounting or ERP system. In a business-to-business environment, you typically want that to be automated. We want the orders to be created in our system because it's going to tell us what do we need to buy, what do we need to make, what are the shipment requirements, the promise dates for the customer, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so just a couple differences. Back office integration, it's not just about the customer pricing. When I log into a business-to-business site, I expect to see my customer pricing, but I also expect to see my customer bill-to information, right? I might be ordering for 50 different stores or subsidiaries. That information is already in the accounting system. Why should I have to maintain it in two places? I should be able to pull it from the accounting system into the shopping cart, and we can do that with a B2B application like Untitled Commerce. Automated order creation, we talked about that. Real-time inventory status, and there's caveats to this. Many of the shopping carts, like in Amazon, can show you the available quantity in their inventory. Most systems cannot do that real-time. Anytime Commerce can do that, and it can be updated as frequently as you want. It's not technically real-time, but if you go every 15 minutes you want to pull your system to find out what do I have in inventory, we can do that. We can also customize that a little bit We have one customer that doesn't want to show that they don't have anything in stock. They just want to display anything under maybe 5 units in stock as low stock. That way the business customer doesn't say, all right, well, they don't have any on hand. I'll go source it from another supplier. If I see low stock, I'm going to go ahead and put my order in anyway. Okay, so you have options on what you want to do there. Stored shipping information, right? If I'm always going to put an order in and I expect it to be shipped a certain method to a certain location, I expect that information to be saved, and it is very different than business to consumer. The real goal here is to eliminate the duplicate data entry. Again, an extension of your business system, not a separate site that has this kind of piecemeal integration and a lot of manual processes that are prone to error. Account self-service, and you can get some of this in a business-to-consumer site, but in B2B it's very different. I'm going to get a statement, right, because I'm buying on account. I'm going to see invoices because I'm buying on account. I want to be able to review previous orders. You can do that in some of your B2C sites. Shipments, right? I want to be able to track my shipments. We can do that within ours, especially if it's truckload, less than truckload, or your own delivery trucks. Account maintenance, I want to be able to maintain, add new locations, things like that flow back into the accounting system. And I want to be able to communicate, right? Again, more of a complex sales process. I need to be able to communicate me as a business customer to my vendor, and I can do that via the shopping cart. Sales reps, access to my customer accounts online. I can see all the information about my customer accounts, their order history. I can save shopping carts. I can look at my product catalog, and I can do remote sales order entry. So when I'm on site with my customer, and this is a screenshot from one of our accounts, direct to manufacturing, they basically take their e-commerce, right, and they take it with them on the road in a tablet. They distribute aftermarket, basically accessories for motorcycle riders, motorcycle racers. So they'll go out to a motorcycle distributor, they'll sit down with their tablet, and they'll go through the product catalog with the customer, logged in as the customer, so they're seeing the customer-specific pricing, and they'll put the orders in through the e-commerce site that's synced directly back into their back-office accounting system. So it's really like taking your product catalog on the road with you. The other thing that they can do is it's the same system that the customers can use to put their own orders in. So maybe I've got a motorcycle dealer that wants to go in and put their own orders in, and I have all that information available to me as a sales rep. Okay, so you can take your e-commerce on the road with you as a sales tool. This is just another example of one of the sites that we did. This is, again, the direct to manufacturing. And you can see at the top here it says the bike shop. So that is their login. They get different images depending on their login, the type of customer they are. Their product catalog is going to be different. Their pricing is going to be different. Their shopping carts are going to be different. The e-commerce experience is different for that account than maybe another type of an account. Same application, different look and feel. This is a very simplistic look and feel for a company that we did the site for called Corrugated Replacements. And they make replacement parts for corrugated box and packaging equipment. And so they were less interested in visuals. Their customers are typically ordering from a parts catalog. They know what they need to order. So they just wanted a very easy way for them to come in, look at invoices, sales orders, purchase history, be able to put in new orders. They don't need to look at the part pictures because, again, they're going off of a part number. This is another example of a site that we put together for a coffee company. And here we can actually see that we have the ability to do categories. So if I'm a coffee company like a Starbucks, which is kind of what these guys are, and I've got stores that need to place orders, they can log into my e-commerce site. They can look at my inventory as the supplier, and my stores can place orders and drill down into what types of products they feel would be beneficial for their store location. Okay? Again, business to business. Another customer that we've done a site for is called Inmar Marine Engines. And this is a really good example of the benefits of B2B versus B2C. Inmar makes very high-end, very good boat engines. They sell almost exclusively through dealers, okay? So their dealers represent their boat engines. When their dealers log into their e-commerce storefront, they want to find out what motors are available that they can sell in their stores. More importantly, though, one of the things that we've added, you'll never find this in a B2C shopping cart, is the ability to go in, enter a serial number for a boat motor that maybe your customer's bringing in for repair. And they can find all the parts in your inventory that are related to that specific boat engine. There are things we can do in B2B that you could never even imagine doing in B2C. This is the maintenance side of the application. There's a number of different maintenance tasks, right? So I want to set up my items, my product categories, different pages, different tabs, images, and all of that's available online within the application. It has a content management system built in, so I don't need to know how to develop an e-commerce site. I can go in just like I would any business application and manage the information, the look, the feel, and make it look like it's really an extension of my website and an extension of my business. So hopefully you got a little bit out of the webinar today, some of the differences between B2B and B2C e-commerce. We do have a white paper that's available on our website called 13 Reasons Why Business-to-Business E-Commerce Storefronts Are Different than B2C. It has a lot of the same information we covered today and a little bit more. So I encourage you, if this is a topic of interest, to visit the website, anytimecommerce.com, and find the 13 Reasons white paper and download that. I've got my contact information on the screen, and we are going to go ahead and take questions. We are going to use the Q&A panel today. So if you have a question, please enter it in the GoToWebinar, and we will go ahead and answer those for you. In the meantime, I'll try to answer some of the questions that we get frequently. Number one is, what typically is the cost for business-to-business shopping carts versus B2C? And the answer anybody's going to give you is it varies, but I can give you a ballpark. Typically for our customers, the site itself, kind of the technology and the tool is one price. The integration, if it's relatively standard for what we see across different businesses, there's going to be one price. If it's going to be something custom, then it's going to be something a little different. But if I were budgeting for a business-to-business shopping cart, I'd probably budget between $10,000 and $20,000. We do also have some different pricing. If you would prefer to go with a hosted subscription price, where we're doing the hosting and you're just paying a monthly fee for the shopping cart, that could be as low as around $500 a month, which is not too bad at all. Trying to think of some of the other typical questions we get. Duration, how long does it typically take to implement a business-to-business shopping cart? If we have a project manager or somebody within your organization that has the information that they need, if we have some access to internal IT resources at your organization, we could have a site up probably within a week, maybe 2 weeks to be safe. The amount of time, we're looking at maybe anywhere on the short end of maybe 20 hours on up to potentially 80 hours. And the real goal of this is to make sure that the integration is there. Okay, so we have to do a lot of definition on the business requirements. What do you expect on the back end? What do you expect from the integration of the data coming out of your accounting system or ERP system into your shopping cart? I can't really think of any of the other questions that we get asked, and I'm not seeing any questions through the Q&A panel. So again, I've got my contact information up on the screen. If you have a question, please feel free to send me an email, and I'll get that routed to the appropriate individual to get that answered for you. I'd like to thank you for taking time out today, and I encourage you to
take a deeper look into Anytime Commerce and see if it might be the right solution for your business. And with that, we're going to let you go, and we will talk to you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.